Have you ever felt her slowly slipping away? She still replies, but the warmth is gone. The messages are shorter, the laughs are forced. You sense it, but you can't prove it. And that quiet distance hurts more than any argument ever could. Today, we'll uncover the 7 clear signs she's losing interest in you, told through a story that mirrors what millions of men silently go through. And as always, we'll learn what the Stoics would have done, because wisdom, not desperation, is the only way to heal. Scene 1. The fading glow. When Daniel met Anna, everything felt effortless. They talked until 2 a.m., laughed over the smallest things, and promised to always stay honest. But 3 months later, the tone began to change. Is greater than, "Hey, are we still meeting today?" Daniel texted, 10 minutes, 30, 2 hours. Finally, "Sorry, got busy, maybe tomorrow?" Tomorrow never came. At first, Daniel blamed himself. Maybe he said something wrong, maybe she was stressed. But deep down, he felt a shift. The glow in her eyes when she saw him gone. The long conversations replaced by scrolling silence. Stoic Reflection 1. Awareness before reaction. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Is greater than, we suffer not from the things themselves, but from our judgments about them." Daniel's first mistake was panic. He tried harder, more texts, more gifts, more questions. But every time he chased, she drifted further. Lesson 1. When you sense distance, don't chase validation. Observe it. Silence often tells you more truth than words ever could. Stoics teach us to separate what we control, our effort, our calm, from what we can't control, her feelings, her choices. The moment you begin to beg for clarity, you lose self-respect. Stay still. Watch patterns, not promises. Scene 2. The mirror moment. One evening, Daniel met his old friend Marcus. Marcus listened quietly and asked, "Is greater than, when she stops showing up for you, why do you keep showing up for her?" Daniel had no answer. He realized he'd become addicted not to Anna, but to the version of her that existed only in his memories. Stoic Reflection 2. Love without attachment. The Stoics never said, "Don't love." They said, "Love deeply." But remember, the world is in constant change. People evolve, feelings fade, desires shift. To hold on too tightly is to suffer twice, once in love and again in loss. Lesson 2. If she's losing interest, don't fight change, understand it. You can't control her flame, but you can guard your own. Love should be offered freely, not demanded desperately. Scene 3. The small signs. In the following weeks, Daniel began to notice the signs, clearly signs that most men miss until it's too late. 1. Short replies. Where there was once warmth, now only K and yeah. 2. No curiosity. She stopped asking about his day, his goals, his thoughts. 3. Less presence. When they met, her phone got more attention than his words. 4. Excuses. Always tired, always busy, but not for everyone, only for him. Each sign was a quiet goodbye, whispered through routine. Stoic Reflection 3. Detachment is strength, not coldness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Is greater than. When you arise in the morning, remember, you will meet people who are ungrateful, fickle, deceitful. Do not let it disturb you." Daniel finally understood indifference isn't cruelty, it's clarity. She had moved on emotionally. Now, it was his turn to move on mentally. Lesson 3. Acceptance doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. The Stoic response to fading love is not revenge, not begging, but self-mastery. Hold your dignity tighter than you ever held her hand. Scene 4. The turning point. Daniel stopped chasing. No more late night, "Where are you?" messages. No more emotional paragraphs that went unanswered. At first, the silence felt like torture. But a few days later, something unexpected happened. Peace. He realized how much energy he had wasted trying to control what was never his. One night he journaled, "Is greater than, maybe she didn't change. Maybe she just revealed who she truly was." Stoic Reflection 4. Pain as a teacher. Seneca wrote, "Is greater than, sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Heartbreak hurts, but it refines. It forces you to confront your dependence, your insecurity, your ego. Each sleepless night teaches detachment. Each unanswered text teaches patience. Each loss teaches perspective. Lesson 4. Pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. The Stoic man doesn't seek to escape heartbreak. He seeks to evolve through it. When feelings fade, rise above neediness. Use solitude as a forge, not a prison. Transition to part 2. Daniel's journey was far from over. He still had to face the remaining 3 signs, the moments when silence turns into indifference, and indifference into emotional distance. But what he learned next would not only change how he viewed love, it would... Part 2. The realization and the Stoic truth behind losing interest. Narration continues. Gentle background music, thoughtful tone. After days of confusion, Alex finally stopped texting her. He told himself, if she wants to talk, she will. But silence grew heavier than words. Every night, he'd unlock his phone hoping to see her name. But there was nothing. He replayed every moment. Was I too available? Too emotional? Too boring? The human mind becomes its own enemy when love begins to fade. One evening, sitting in his car, Alex whispered to himself, "Is greater than. Maybe she's not losing interest. Maybe she's just showing me the truth I refuse to see." That's when he found a video on Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Is greater than. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Alex realized, love isn't about keeping someone. It's about sharing yourself freely, without ownership or control. The problem wasn't that she lost interest. The problem was, he lost himself trying to keep her. Sign #5. She avoids emotional connection. When she stops talking about her day, when deep conversations turn into small talk, understand that her heart is no longer where it used to be. A Stoic would say, "Is greater than. Don't chase what runs away from peace. Let silence reveal what words can't." Alex stopped chasing closure. He accepted that people drift away not because you're not enough, but because they're no longer aligned with your journey. Sign #6. She's always busy. Maybe next week. I'm tired today. I've got plans already. You know those lines. They sound polite, but they mean distance. Epictetus taught, "Is greater than. We suffer not from what happens, but from our judgment about what happens." Alex began to shift his thinking. Instead of feeling rejected, he felt free. Free to rebuild, refocus, and rise. Sign 7. You feel like a stranger. This one hurts the most. The person who once knew every detail of your soul now feels like a stranger in your story. Alex once texted her out of habit. "Is greater than. Drive safe. Okay?" No reply. He smiled faintly, not out of sadness, but realization. He whispered, "She's no longer my peace. She's my lesson." That's when he truly understood Stoicism, the art of loving without attachment. Stoic Reflection. What love really is. True love, the Stoic said, isn't possession. It's respecting someone's freedom, even if that freedom takes them away from you. Seneca wrote, "Is greater than. He who needs nothing loves everything more purely." Alex stopped defining love by how long it lasted. He began defining it by how deeply it changed him. Conclusion. The Stoic truth. Sometimes losing someone isn't a tragedy. It's a transformation. You lose them, but you find yourself. You learn that peace isn't found in someone's presence, but in your ability to remain calm in their absence. Alex looked at his reflection in the window and smiled. Is greater than, she didn't leave to hurt me. She left to teach me who I really am. Final lesson. Let go, not because they don't matter, but because you do. If she's losing interest, don't fight it. Don't beg. Don't chase. Simply return to your path with quiet strength, because one day she'll look back and realize you were the calm she could never find again. Call to action. Ending line. If this story touched your heart, remember strength isn't in holding on. It's in knowing when to let go. Subscribe to Daily Stoic Wisdom for more life lessons that help you rise above emotions and live with peace, purpose, and power. Part 3. The Stoic Summary and Closing Outro. Soft music fades in calm, reflective tone. After everything Alex went through, the unanswered messages, the silence, the fading warmth, he finally learned the one truth every Stoic master knew. You cannot lose what was never in your control. Love is beautiful, but it's never guaranteed. And that's okay, because every ending teaches something the heart refuses to learn in comfort. Revisiting the 7 signs with Stoic eyes. Let's reflect one last time on the 7 signs she's losing interest, but now, through the lens of Stoic wisdom. 1. Short replies. Don't chase meaning in her silence. What you control, your tone, your calm. What you don't, her energy or effort. 2. No curiosity. When she stops asking about you, realize that people who truly care stay curious. Lesson. You deserve connection, not convenience. 3. Less presence. If she's always on her phone when you're near, she's already somewhere else in her mind. Lesson. Give attention where it's valued, not where it's wasted. 4. Excuses. I'm busy is not a schedule, it's a signal. Lesson. Don't beg for time, build a life that makes others value yours. 5. Avoiding emotion. When she stops sharing her world, don't force entry. Lesson. Detach with dignity. Peace begins where pressure ends. 6. Always busy. She finds time for what matters. Lesson. If she's too busy for you, be too focused for disappointment. 7. You feel like a stranger. When love turns to distance, remember, that's not rejection, that's reality. Lesson. Acceptance is your freedom. The Stoic perspective on love. The Stoics never said love is weakness. They said attachment without wisdom is. Epictetus wrote, is greater than, when you kiss your child, remind yourself that you love a mortal. Thus you will not be disturbed if they die. That sounds cold, but it isn't. It means love everything fully, but hold nothing too tightly. Because everything in life, people, moments, emotions, is temporary, fleeting, changing. When you understand this, you stop begging people to stay and start thanking them for the lessons they brought. Alex's final realization months passed. Alex no longer waited for her message. He woke up early, worked out, read daily Stoic meditations. He wrote in his journal, is greater than, peace isn't found in being loved, it's found in loving rightly. One morning, he received a message from her again. Is greater than, hey, how have you been? He smiled, not with bitterness, not with hope, just calm understanding. He replied kindly, then put his phone aside. Because once you master yourself, no one can control your peace again. If she's losing interest, let her. Because her fading presence is just life showing you who's meant to stay. The Stoic man doesn't beg for closure. He creates it within himself. He doesn't chase temporary attention. He builds lasting character. He doesn't ask, why did she change? He asks, what can I learn? Remember this. Every loss is an invitation to meet the strongest version of yourself. You are not hard to love. You're just meant to be loved deeply by someone who's ready. Until then, love yourself the way a Stoic would. Calmly, wisely, and with quiet strength. Final outro. If this story inspired you or helped you find clarity, don't let the lesson end here. Turn wisdom into a habit. Turn pain into purpose. Subscribe to Daily Stoic Wisdom for more powerful stories that help you rise above emotions, build inner peace, and live with strength, serenity, and self-respect.